right, everyone. This is the first in a series of woods improvement videos. I'm basically going to go over how I evaluate my forest, where I can find ways to make it better for deer, and do step-by-step videos and how I can turn a forest into a much better habitat for whitetails to grow really big. So a combination of forest management and food plot management is the #1 factor in big deer. If you just plant food plots, you're still going to get bigger deer, but they won't reach full potential if you don't manage the woods. The woods are as vitally important as any food plot you build. So first off, I'm over here near the boundary, so you can see the neighbor's property in the background here. My first evaluation was looking for oak trees. How many oak trees are in a span between where I'm standing and the hunting blind down there? Well, the answer is not very many. There's not as many as I'd like to see. I found about 10, and most of them are not even of production age. There's only one tree that has even a good chance to produce, and it's right here beside where I'm standing. So I'm still making my way down here toward the back side of the property here, but these are ideas that I get for future projects. And just to give you an idea of what I'm looking at here, so maybe it helps you understand what I'm doing, is right here is a really good white oak, and I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago I pushed this dead snag down, and it was really growing right up beside the tree when it was living, so you can see the hole that the tree had made from in the past right here. So now the oak tree is rapidly growing back this direction. So this tree has been freed of competing material or competing trees. Not that these here aren't competing as well, but you get the idea. You want the canopy of your oaks to be open. So this tree is in much better shape. Now there is a bonus here that I pick up on when I'm looking at this. Not only is there an oak tree here, but right here's a wild grapevine. As of right now, this is of zero use to a deer, although I have seen them eat this bark and moss it's grown on it before. If you're seeing that type of browsing, you're in really bad shape. I don't have that here, but I have seen it on a public WMA, and I was just like, oh boy. So I knew that they were really starving up there, and probably wouldn't want to see that big of a deer. So here is another opportunity. Don't pass it up. Cut these vines off and let them resprout out of the ground right here. This will make brand new shoots the deer will feed on these wild grapevines like crazy. So you're giving them a boost of food here by cleaning up the competing area here. You're giving them another boost of grains, a highly important grain to have. Now let's move down this direction. There's a cluster here, here, and here. These are all white oaks that are probably most likely seedlings from this tree right here. There is another problem over here with this white oak. He has a perfect chance to dominate the landscape. There's not much in the way except for this dogwood tree. So what's it do? It just grows right into the top of the tree. And now this tree is one-sided for about 85% of the tree. You're losing valuable production. So when I come in here to do an improvement, I'm cutting this dogwood down. And then when you do this, you're actually giving deer sprouts to eat off again. So I'm creating food two ways. Is a short-term boost is the sprouts coming back off. The long-term boost is the sheer volume of production these trees will start creating in years to come. So this is the same concept I did for the island, except I'm doing micro improvements, finding oak trees scattered out here and see how I can make it better for them to maybe get a chance to take over a canopy, or maybe increase production a little bit. There's all kinds of small things that you can do that makes a big difference. Like here, this oak tree here, not growing in the best conditions. It's leaning just wherever it can grow to. Right here's his friend, and this one here has just not got much of a canopy to work with. And here's an ugly hickory tree blocking this white oak right here from getting anywhere. So I'm going to cut that down and get rid of it. I'm also considering, very strongly considering, the removal of this wild cherry. He looks like he's got a little bit of an issue going on with him. Not a very healthy tree, at least not healthy looking to me anyway. And he's blocking oak trees. So this is a prime candidate to cut down. And I'm going to get into more in-depth videos as I start progressing here. But just in this 20-yard spot here, there is a fantastic chance right here for anybody that has this situation where you start finding a bunch of oaks close together. You can really ramp up nut production in this area. And everywhere you do this, you're increasing food output, you're increasing deer's body's outputs. They're going to start showing more antler expression because there's more food during the prime of rut. They can recover faster. It ties into all kinds of future growth. And if you cut down enough trees to fix these oaks, you're going to allow sunlight to come down in here, and there is the chance that native species will sprout in here and give the deer additional food during the spring and summer. Another big bonus. This is what I call the triple threat here, because you've got all these oaks. That's threat one to grow a big one. You got the wild cherry vine, or not wild cherry, I'm sorry, wild grapevine over here. That's threat two. And if you cut down enough of these trees, threat three is all the native species that can blow up in here, providing food, cover, shelter. If you can provide food, cover, shelter, and water, deer will stay on your property. If they have at least food, shelter, and cover, they will stay on your property. You can make up for lack of water through ponds if necessary, or through the vegetation you plant in your food plot, giving deer water requirements. Now, let's go over here. All right, I'm seeing something very good here as well. Here's another. Okay, this tree here is doing great. This is fantastic. This tree has broken through the canopy up here and is now dominating that space. This cedar tree is sucking valuable nutrients out of this tree. Matter of fact, right here's a sister white oak right next to it. Very good looking tree. So both of these trees right here are kind of being stunted by this cedar tree here. So I'm going to cut this cedar tree down, and that will free up both of these oaks. Matter of fact, from the looks of it, I may free up this side a little more. Yeah, it's kind of put a nice gap in the tree where it's not growing any limbs, forcing it to lean. So by removing the cedar tree, I'm going to create a very nice sunlight space and more extensive room to grow, and that is one less competing tree for these oaks. So these oaks will start growing faster and start producing more nuts just by what the ground is providing for them. And see, there's some natives right here. So this is getting to where maybe if there's enough light in here, I might get more natives like that to pop up. And I have seen deer eat them. Down this way, I see a lot more big cedar trees here, maples. The oaks have quickly vanished here, so I'm going through a void where there is no available grain for the deer. This is an area deer may bed. because it's so close to a whole bunch of white oaks right here. It's a prime candidate for it. And now here's the other thing. If you ever want to bring the kid back in yourself, you start pushing down these dead trees right here. That's all I used to do when I was a kid, run through the woods and trying to find the biggest snag I could push on and see if I could knock it down. And of course this one's still a little too solid to do that. But when you start seeing dead trees, get them out of the way. Get them on the ground. The rotting process picks up a whole lot faster because the bacteria in the ground can access this a lot easier. And you want this tree to return the nutrients to the surrounding trees. I know sometimes this may sound silly, but everything I'm doing has a purpose in order to attract deer, hold deer, get them a little bit bigger. And the more I do this, the bigger your deer will get. So I'm pretty much going to end this right here. And this is just the beginning of this series. I got plenty more steps to do here, and we'll see what happens. So this is part 1, and more parts to come.